Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I'm sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq, also known as the Black Yul Brenner. I'd also like to say a big giant thank you. Golly, man, grow. You can grow. You can do it. I'd like to say hello and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Also, thank you so much to my wonderful moderators for all that you do in holding down the comment section. I should say that we're going to be talking about a Nigerian Canadian gentleman wanting to know how the hate between Black Americans and Africans started. Now, normally this is not my cup of tea, but I said, you know what? Why not? I'll explore it. And I also want to say right off the top, this is not to cause more division or anything like that. It's to have a civil conversation. And I hate that I have to say that because I know, unfortunately, there will be some people to crash out. And I do not mean to be the catalyst of that. So I'm letting you know now, we're just going to have a regular conversation. This is not about name calling or anything like that. We're going to have a really good conversation. Then we're going to ponder a question that, he kind of states or asks towards the end. But in the meantime, I should also say that the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. So Donovan, what say you? And hello to everybody. And I will say hello to you guys in a minute.
Yes. All right. Welcome, you guys, to 3 p.m. Glad to be here myself. I've been very, very busy this holiday season. Hopefully, I will get back to my regularly programmed schedule of being retired and not doing a damn thing. Matter of fact, Demetra, there's 50 seats going to Hawaii Friday, the 19th, out of North Island. Can't get on it because I'm working and volunteering, but I'm doing something I think is very needed, and I'm happy to do it. And sacrifice to do that. We always talk about sacrifice, but nobody wants to do it. So anyway, thank you for joining us, you guys. If you guys want to continue to donate to have these great conversations, there's ways you guys can do so. If you look at the bottom of this screen, it is scrolling, and it says right now, please donate. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, cash, money order, however you guys want to do it. It does take time and effort to make these great conversations up, to cut these videos and do all the things that Demetra does in here. So if you guys want to buy her a cup of coffee, you guys are more than welcome to do that. Please, 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 we encourage it. But for those of you guys that have continued to support this channel and continue to support us in all aspects of donations and everything like that, you guys are greatly appreciated, and you guys know who you are. Also, do not forget, check out the African Diaspora News channel. Within the African Diaspora, the news channel is the Emancipation Channel, and there's a whole bunch of different entities within a Black-owned app. And you guys can get that on Google Play, Apple Store. Download the African Diaspora News Channel app, where you can kind of figure out what is going on. You get great videos from Demetra K, Wongel, Vicky Dillard, Brother Phil Scott, and a whole host of other people that are on the app. Graduation time is coming up. Next week is Christmas. Hey, a great Christmas gift to give your loved ones and everyone like that, the gift of knowledge. You can't go wrong with anything like that. I always piss off my nephew by giving him books, but hey, knowledge is power, right? I'm trying to give him the power. If he doesn't want it, he just doesn't want it. So African Diaspora News Channel app, great Christmas gift, also a great graduation gift. Let's get into this topic. And I want you guys to know, as a disclaimer, these are Demetra's people we're going to be talking about. These are her people. So let's get into it.
Well, when he say my people, obviously my DNA states that I do have Nigerian in me, right? I came from the motherland before. My people, well, I should say my ancestors came from the motherland centuries ago, before we were enslaved, right? So far, going back to the 1700s here in the United States, from South Carolina. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into it for the sake of time. So, okay, of course, you guys know this is, it's been a conversation. Y'all know I really don't even like to get into it like that, because I personally do not want to be misconceived as I guess feeding into the division and things like that. But I think it's an honest question that he asked. So I'm going to show y'all a video of a brother by the name of the Do-Rag Man. The Do-Rag Man is what his name is. And he is from Canada, I believe, from what I looked at on his profile. Nigerian as well. Look like he's a poet and things like that. And so he's kind of been pondering this question on his TikTok page anyway. So this is what he has to say. So here we go. And hello to everybody. Brother Don, how you doing? My Triple G moderator. And Brother Samuel, how you doing? Hope all is well. Okay, so here we go. T. Austin, what's up?
This is a conversation for every Black person. And I hope this video gets across as much as possible. And it's okay for you to disagree with me. I respectfully understand. And I feel like we have to disagree because even siblings, twins, they disagree, right? And personally, for me, I believe if we don't disagree, we are not being honest with each other and we do not genuinely love each other, right? You know, there is a massive division amongst we Black people. And it doesn't just make a single sense to me, respectfully. How can a Black American be hating on an African? How can an African be hating on a Black American? Like, I have Black Americans as friends. You know, I've done a little bit of social experiment lately. I mean, I never even realized that there's an amount of hatred, you know, amongst Black Americans, and I do not know until this social experiment that I did. How can we be hating on each other? You know, I think white supremacists have, I don't want to call what they've made a propaganda. I feel it's like there's a doctrine, like a cultural doctrine that we are imbibing or they've embedded amongst us, that when we see each other, we try to like antagonize each other and see each other as enemies. Like, we need each other. The earlier we realize that, the better for us. Don't get me wrong. I am all for every God's creation. I don't care if you're Asian, white, whatever you are, you're God's creation. I respect you. I love you. But how can I be seeing someone of my skin color and, you know, still be doubting if I could actually have a proper conversation with them, like trying to doubt their intention towards me? Because at the end, white supremacists do not see you and I as Somalian, Nigerian, Black American, this and that. They see us as Black. That's it. Just Black. You're not going around with your international passport and saying, "Oh, I was born here." No. Because ancestrally, we are cousins. That's all they see. So how can we be hating on each other? I just feel like it's time for us to unite more than ever. And this is not me trying to like, Africans want to be like Black American. No. This is just a concerned African, a concerned human being, a concerned Black man expressing his disappointment towards how myself have handled my relationship with my fellow Black man. I think we can do better. It's all love from you.
Okay. So, I already see some of the comments. Okay, so let me just go ahead and break it down. I know his accent, it was kind of thick, but the subtitles were there. So he basically said he had been conducting a social experiment. I don't know what that is. Maybe just pondering this question on his TikTok about, you know, the rift between Black Americans, Africans, and he also, you know, mentioned those from the Caribbean and things like that. And he basically said that white supremacy is, you know, all of our enemies and got us kind of at each other's throats. And he said it a couple times, we need each other. And he also says that white supremacy, sees us all as Black, regardless of where you come from, right? We saw not too long ago, some Somalis, they were at a Cinnabon somewhere and they got called the good old N-word. And it sounds like there was a little bit of shock, like, no, you know, but from that point, you know, white folks are like, well, you're all the same to me, right? Now, he wants to know, how do we get to the point of hating on each other? And he says we could do better. It's all love. Now, y'all know, I like to kind of, you know, break it down a tiny bit. Well, he said it. The answer was in his video. We have the same oppressor. Africans in the motherland, Black Americans here in the United States, and whether in the Caribbean or wherever you are, that you are Black, right? Per se, we have the same oppressor, and the European, right? Depending on where you were or where you landed, the European has been our oppressor. That's just the long and short of it. Okay, now let's get to what had happened was, obviously, right, forced separation. We know that this thing called slavery through the transatlantic slave trade that took us, when I say us, then I know there are some, okay, Black people that are indigenous to America, some, right? But it said that from what I saw, Black Americans, DNA is about 75% African and 25% European, depending on how much massa was creeping up in your people's bloodline. Okay, so of course we know we have that forced separation. And with that, again, we were taken different places. We were separated, if you will, from tribes and all of that. Now, with that, when we were brought over here, when I say we are ancestors, we learned different things. Okay. Now, of course, the people that did not get trafficked, if you will, via slavery, they continued on in the tribes that they were in and things like that. And then, of course, over time, we learned different things about each other. And that's where you go with the divide and conquer. We, of course, especially here in America, Black Americans, we were just taught self-hate because we learned that from the oppressor. We learned things differently than we actually were, right? Kings, queens, and a whole host of other things we were taught and deduced down to, as it has been said a lot by that of James Baldwin and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that while we did not create the N-word, we unfortunately act like the N-word. That word comes from, we know, the oppressor. Again, we subscribe to that label now. We just do. You can argue with somebody, but not me. It's just a fact. So those are the things that we learned, and especially over here. And I'll give you a perfect example. When Donovan and I and my daughter were going to South Africa, we heard a whole bunch of negative things. Oh, they in the jungle over there. Or they doing A, B, C, and D. And you got to be careful and this, that, and the other. So I'm saying all that to say is part of the divide and conquer is we learned a lot of negative things about each other, right? Now, the other thing is we developed different identities. Of course, those who did not get trafficked, they kept on with the identities that they learned if you were from a tribe or whatever it is. And of course, we came over here, we learned different cultures, right? So some may argue that, yes, most of us, and I say us, I'm speaking for myself because I know somebody gonna say, not me. Yes, DNA, we are African, but culturally speaking, we are not. You know, especially like I said, if you think about my ancestry, it goes, you know, as far as I have seen so far to the 1700s. So culturally, yeah, I'm not African. I am American, right? And then whatever it is, you know, I have learned your values, beliefs, and things like that. Those are and behaviors. Those make up culture. So those things make up our culture, which is why a lot of people say we have Black American culture. Then, of course, you go into European eyes. That's how we see each other, through the eyes of Europeans. And at the end of the day, Europeans don't see any of us favorable. And so with that, we've also learned, you know, again, a lot of self-hate. We've learned to hate each other. And then the other part of that too is, you know, I'm not African, but just kind of the things that I've seen. Yeah, they have, not all, but some have really acted upon the things that they believe about us, even to the tune of coming over here and, you know, maybe thumbing their noses at us, saying different things that they have learned also from the oppressor. And of course, in all fairness, the argument is, okay, well, you're coming over here to America for whatever reason, you're coming over here, that's your business. But then you come over here and then you look down upon Black Americans. It's like, wait a minute, now you in our homeland, right? Because the argument has been made a copious amount of times that it almost be like us going over to, you know, wherever country in Africa and saying, well, now you got to do things our way, or you're horrible people because you're not like me. So again, these are just some of the things that I could come up with why we have such, as he says, hate for one another. And then, of course, I think I'd be remiss in not bringing up that, yeah, some of this is kind of manufactured on both sides, right? We see a copious amount of videos, which I try my best not to really get involved with, but we see, you know, whether somebody from the motherland saying this and that about, you know, Black Americans, or you got Black Americans saying this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, we got the same oppressor and we got the same issue. And, you know, the tactics of the oppressor have worked and they are still working. Now, to address his point at the end, we need each other. I think that's the larger consensus, right? The larger consensus is that we need each other. And the other consensus, and I know this is probably going to go over a lot of people's heads, but in an ideal world, everybody has the same oppressor, whether you're Asian, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're African, whether you're Black American, we all have the same oppressor, but we are so disjointed, and that's by design. But one day, if we were to come to our senses, obviously, when we, you know, get our own stuff together, we would say, hey, we got the same oppressor, don't we? Shouldn't we be on the same page? But I know that's light years away, but that's ideally where we should all be. But anyway, I'm going to give it to Donovan, and then I'm going to have a conversation with you all to see what you guys have to say about it. Again, I want to have a respectful conversation. It is not my goal to be divisive, as I do not like to operate in that manner. So I'm asking everybody that's here, let's have a very conducive conversation.
Yes, and as always, you guys see me behind. I have my fair use out there in case we have any problems with videos. All right, let's get into it. Here's the first thing I have, Dimitri, with your people. Yo people. No, I'm joking. Here's the first thing. You're in the United States of America. In the United States of America, when we use the term black, it is used as an adjective because, as we know, as a black person, not all of us are from Nigeria. Not all of us have lineage in South Africa. Not all of us have lineage from the Congo. So black is used as an adjective to describe something incidental about you as a person. I just got robbed. Well, can you please describe the perpetrator? He was 6'3", 200 pounds, black guy. It's an adjective. In this country, that's how we use it. When we say white, it's an adjective because what is it, a white European? Is it a white Australian? Is it a white Latino? It's an adjective. See, and that's what really bothers me about these people. They come to this country and they refuse to assimilate into the country. But we go to their country. Like I said, I can understand the Somali saying, oh, we're not black, we're Somali. I can understand the Dominican thing. Oh, you know, we're not black, we're Dominicans. They're dealing with the nationality of their nation where there's a majority of them. Okay, that's all good and great. But the boots of the gravy is the fact that you do have African roots. We all have African roots one way or the other. So for them not to acknowledge you are now in another country and you've got dark skin, you are considered black as an adjective. And that's how they divide us up in this country. That's the racism of this country. Okay, we're not in Somalia, we're not in Dominica, we're not in Nigeria or whatever. Now, I will give this young man grace because he was very respectful in how he's having this conversation, but I will answer him real quick, and it doesn't make sense to why he is wondering why we can't come together. Number one, remember I told you guys a few shows ago that delineation, these groups have an issue with us delineating from them now. Why is it that all of these groups have a problem with us now delineating with them? You want to know why? Because Donald Trump, the guy that's the boogeyman and he's a Nazi and he's all this and he's all that, he is the only one that is out there championing FBA issues. By delineating, these people can't come up here and use programs that were specifically made for us. So I'm going to be real quick because I love what you guys are saying in the chats. Here's my question. He's talking about coming together. You've got 53 African nations on the African continent, and they can't come together. And you're going to come all the way across the Atlantic Ocean and wonder why FBAs and other groups can't come together. The biggest problem in Africa, and Dimitri and I were there, and I'm very sure some of you guys that have been to Africa know, is tribalism. It's not a color thing with them. It's a tribal thing with them. If you're not part of their tribe, there is no difference between me being a white man and a black man from America or an Asian man from China. I am an outsider to that tribe. It's as simple as that. That's their biggest issue. You know, so when they play this, I don't understand whatever, you know, we got the wording, the Akata and this is why Donovan has never been a Pan-Africanist. FBAs in the African diaspora, we are the only ones that practice Pan-Africanism. We're the only ones. You don't see Blackville anywhere in the United States. There's no such thing as Blackville. There's no such thing. But you have little Haiti, you have little Nigeria, you have Koreatown, you have Chinatown in every major city. We're the only ones that don't do it. So his feigning this ignorance, and I'm seeing it on a lot of YouTube channels, the Somalis are doing, everybody's doing, even the Latinos are doing it, the Dominicans are doing it, is because Donald Trump and the Republican Party is standing up for FBAs in the United States and saying these programs are not for you. Do not let these people. How many times have you guys heard the story? When my parents came here, they had no money in their pockets and they pulled themselves up by the bootstraps. That's a damn lie. They came here on our backs and used the money that was fronted, supposed to be for us, to set themselves up. How do Asians get here from Vietnam and own all the damn businesses in the black neighborhoods and make all this money? Because they were set up and given money specifically to them. Don't ever let any of these people come here and tell you that they came here with not a penny in their pocket and they just rose to be successful. That is a very rare occurrence. So again, don't sit here and tell me why we can't get along when you got 53 nations in Africa and none of them can get along.
Hey, Brother Todd, how you doing? It says all African Americans are black, but not all black people are African Americans. That's 100% correct. And how you doing? I'm just reading you guys' comments. Let me skip down. FBA Judah, how you doing? Says the 4% of Africans that were on boats are 500 years removed from Africa. Yeah. But that still doesn't mean that your DNA is not there. You know what I mean? I guess I don't know. That's not my field of expertise. I'm just trying to go with some logic here. Let's see. Letitia, how you doing? Says he said, unite. We are not the same. They are not scam artists. He says they are scam artists. I deal with Africans. They stole my tax papers. Yeah. And like I said, my point to this is not to be divisive, and I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. And I don't mean to sound whataboutismist, if you will, but everybody scams. That's not something that's, ubiquitous, I guess, to a certain group of people. Everybody scams. I think I could say I've probably been scammed or close to it by some of everybody, right? And I got the court processes to show it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. For me, I like to be a little bit more on the logical side. I don't like to deal with emotions too much. So yeah, I think everybody probably got the scam bones up in them. Let's see. Original Skywalker says, not that African thing has been programmed very deeply. When you do your genealogy and don't see no African from either side, then the truth is clear to see. Well, I mean, that may be true for you. It's not true for me. That's not true for me. I didn't see no African in mine. So I can only speak to me. Silky Daniel says, even if we did come from Africa, they still hate us. Well, yeah, that's true. Not all of them. And as Donovan said, and I want to address some comments from earlier. TTU says, when we go to Africa, they treat us as second-class citizens. I can't say for everybody else because I've only been to two countries. But I'll say the places that I've gone, Seychelles and South Africa, I didn't experience that at all. I didn't feel like anybody treated me as a secondary citizen. It was nothing but all love from everybody there. In fact, I met a woman who reminded me of my mom. Looked just like my mom, almost in every way, shape, and form. And we ended up calling her Mama Zulu. Very sweet, nice lady, right? So I didn't have that experience of being treated as a second-class citizen. Again,
tell the whole story. Mama Zulu, we thought was a street peddler. She had a whole shop.
Right? She had a whole business, right? She says, come on, there's more. Got everybody damn money, but sweet lady. So I can't speak to that. I didn't experience any hate over there. Have I had any negative interactions over here in the States from people from the motherland? Yeah, but I've had negative interactions from Hispanics, Asians, our people. So I've had it from everywhere, right? So I guess the conversation needs to be had. And I hear what he's saying. And this is not just coming from him. I hear this from everybody. How is it that we have so much vitriol for each other? As I said the last time, when we're supposed to be doing this, when I say we, I mean y'all, this African braiding boycott. I don't get my hair braided anyway, so I guess I'm not involved in that. And like, y'all gonna shut the Africans down, but y'all let the Asians whoop y'all behinds up in there in the neighborhood, the Arabs and the Hispanics and everybody else do all kind of crazy stuff to Black Americans, and we organizing on our own, or people who look like us. I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me because, like I said, when we shut all them people down, then sign me up. And I've always said that. Miss Excited, how you doing? Says I need the Supreme Court to delineate. Well, I don't have a problem with delineation, but again, a lot of y'all are new to this. Delineation is not a new conversation; it's newer, right? And a lot of people just didn't know. But we've always been, in a sense, told to delineate, right? Even Al Elijah Muhammad said, you know, yeah, we love our brothers and sisters on the continent, but we as Black Americans, yeah, we got to get our stuff together. So that's not a new thing. But unfortunately, I think this delineation conversation has gone places to where it's like, are we separating because we hate everybody else? Or are we separating because we love us? See, I'm on the other side of it. Let's delineate because we love us more. We want to actually build up Black America. But all that other, I'm not going to sign up for that other stuff, right? The name calling, all that, leave me off of that. But the other part, absolutely. And that's just really for anybody. But of course, like says, I'm just going the chips. You guys say, I think you say you're gonna let the chips fall where they may. And Thunder says, have you ever noticed that when they do something good like graduate school, they say no, they're anything but Black American, but they commit a crime, they get lumped in with Black America. Yeah, but as Donovan said, that's the system here, you know. And unfortunately for them, yeah, they got to learn that the hard way. Like white folks and white supremacy don't say, oh, well, you don't look Black American or you're Somalian, whatever the case is. They lump everybody together. So that's something that they try to come over here and do and become tribalism. But again, we've seen time and time again, when something happened to one of them, what's the first thing they say? Where's the Black community? And then somebody will go digging in the crates and see some tweets or something. It's like, what? You really didn't like us much, you know? So what do you want us to do now that the po-po done got a hold of you, or you then went off into the woods hunting with your co-workers and they said you was acting crazy and they all like, what do you want us to do? You should have kind of took heed when you came over here, right? Brother Phil talked about that. When you come over here, get acclimated. Hey, how does it get down here? You know, come to Black Americans and say, what are we doing here? Don't come over here and try to thumb your nose at us. And then when you get, you know, catch a bad one, it's like, where's the Black community? It's like, you tell me, you know? And Ursa, thank you for becoming a member. Love and appreciate you. Says, I'm African. I'm an American historian. Foundational Black Americans have left every immigrant group, or have let every immigrant group disrespect us. Yeah. So again, you know, I'm glad that we are waking up to that. But like I said, I want to wake up where we are actually talking about being productive. That's the only thing I care about. I don't want to sign up for the, well, we this, that, and the other. We going back and forth. Nah, I want to sign up for when we as Black Americans are building Black America in every way, shape, and form. Black, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Let me skip down a little bit because I see that I'm behind. You also say we're not African, we're American. Well, I mean, I can't tell you what you are. My DNA is from the motherland. Although my family has been here since I can see, as far back since the 1700s. So that makes me, you know, having some ancestry in Africa. I'm like, say, I got to lie to y'all. I ain't gonna lie to kick it, right? You know, oh no, I'm not. Listen, like I said, this ain't even my field. But I know if the mother of civilization is a woman from what they say Ethiopia, the motherland, then your ass is from the motherland too. Essentially, white folks too. I mean, if that's what where we're going, right? I mean, I'm just saying, it's logic. It's not even to be arguing. NBA Convo, how you doing? Says peace. My first time here. Wow. Oh, sit down. You're gonna have a great time. You came for a great conversation today. Jerron, how you doing? Says the neighborhood I grew up in has certain businesses that only foreigners could get into. As if in a foreign market. Yeah, and that's still the case now. But the other part of that is, like I said, when we in Black America start talking about, okay, even though they set those shops up in our neighborhood, let's not go there. They ain't gonna be open long if we don't go there, right? But we won't have that conversation, be mad at everybody for getting loans and setting up shop in our neighborhood, and we go right over there and get all the funkiness that they got, the attitude, the products, the food, and everything, and then we stay complaining instead of stop going up in there. Like, I'm not gonna go spend some money with somebody who don't like me. You just come, and set up shop. You taking all the resources out and you acting crazy with me. I'm not gonna give you my money. See, when we start having those conversations in Black Americans, yeah, come on, let's do it. D-Mac says, listen, I saw firsthand how it's done. They have community centers across the country for people that come from these countries. He says they tell them where to go to receive the documents and benefits. Yeah, we saw that especially with the Biden administration. They got phones and all kind of apps. Now, Trump reversed it and said the app is not telling you to go back. Let us know you on your way out of here, but...
Yeah, and by the way, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, the whole CBC has been caught up in a major scandal in the money that they've been dealing with and stuff. If you guys read up on that, because it's starting to break. It's a new scandal that's starting to break where they are taking money that is raised and they're living lavish lifestyles and going to the Bahamas and having the best of the best food when they're supposed to be doing things for foundational Black Americans, but instead they're doing stuff for immigrants and things. What is the CBC's number one goal this congressional term? Immigration. They're focusing on immigration.
Yeah, and I also saw a clip of Jasmine Crockett. She's somewhere out here in Houston. I didn't even know she was here. But I guess a news reporter, somebody was asking her different questions about immigration, because I guess she made a comment somewhere sometime about the immigrants or whatever, Latinos that voted for Trump are slave-minded, and people got mad at that. And she kind of doubled down on it. She's like, I love my brown brothers and sisters. And, basically paraphrasing, we just want the best for them. And how could they, we're trying to work to help them. And I'm like... So you're right. Their thing is immigration, even still, right? Even though they know it's mass immigration is not popular, that's the message that they want to continue with. So it's like, good luck, homegirl.
And you guys got to remember, for those that might not know, immigration threatens FBAs more than any other group in the United States. So if you're one of those people that is kumbaya and the Lord said and all this other stuff, do not get mad when there's no resources left for you because they gave it to the immigrants. This is the problem that we're having, and people are now starting to wake up after the fact that immigration is an imminent threat to the Black community. Look at Chicago right now. Brandon Johnson is still doubling down. And I want you guys to look at Chicago real quick. Just like what happened here in LA. He raised the taxes only on the Black poor residents. He didn't raise the taxes on the north side of Chicago where the rich white residents are. They have a Black man in blackface doing white supremacy in real time. You got to pay attention. You got to pay attention to this stuff.
Absolutely. I'm just looking at some of the comments, and Ursula says, not true for me either, but we have our own history, and I apologize. I don't know what that's in regards to because I'm so behind. Loretta says, exactly. We were told that they could open up businesses. It had to be an FBA hood to keep giving our money to other people other than ourselves. Yeah, but again, these are the conversations that we don't like to have, and it just is what it is. It's the way we vote, right? It's the way we vote. We don't show up to city council meetings, city planning meetings when they talking about putting the check in the cashes, the pawn shops, the chicken and rice houses, and all the other, the hood stuff per se, the smoke shops that they put in our neighborhoods. We don't show up to the city planning meeting. We show up when we hear or we see a sign coming soon, the smoke shop. Like, well, damn, we got one right across the street, or coming soon, a Popeyes, or whatever it is, right? We don't show up to that. But then when we see that kind of stuff, then, oh my God, and then once they put the final, bolt in the building and they cut the ribbon, we run up in there. We run up in there and spend our money. Because my thing is this, If we don't have any say-so over what goes in our neighborhood, we damn sure got say-so over what money we put in those shops. But see, we don't want to have that conversation. See, anybody who's known me, Donovan's known me for a long time. I'm not going to bite my tongue because people don't like it. I'm going to speak the truth. If you don't like what's in your neighborhood, then don't give money to the things that's in your neighborhood. How is it that they can do the things, whoever it is, in those neighborhoods to us, in those stores are still standing? And I often ask, how is it that they believe that they can do something to us and ain't nobody gonna come check them? Because they know the nature of a lot of us Black Americans, and I don't care if anybody get mad, it's the truth. They know the nature of us is we got amnesia. Just like we allowed the Democrat Party, I said the Democrat, maybe that's a new name, Democrat Party to hijack the George Floyd protest. And it's just like, if you look back at it, we as Black Americans, we could have essentially wrote our own checks. We had everybody's attention, but what did we do? We let Kamala and Maxine and all the Democrats and, Nancy Pelosi, all them put on the kente cloth, get on their knee and then say, well, we got it from here. And what do? Okay. We should have said, hell no, you ain't got it from here, because it should have never came a day where a Black man would have had a knee on his neck for 10 minutes. Every police officer in America should be afraid to do something like that. But you know why they're not afraid? Because they know we got amnesia, and they know the party that we say we vote most for don't give a damn about us. And they know we don't care that they don't give a damn about us. They also know that when somebody, an Asian, Hispanic, whoever, go to the city planning meeting, say, I'm planning on putting this in the neighborhood, they'll be like, well, you ain't gonna put it in our neighborhood, but we know where you could go. They know we're going to bitch, we're going to cry, and we're going to complain. But once they open up, we're going to be in there spending all our money on all that foolishness. So when we want to have that conversation.
Yes, and real quick, I know we got to get to the comments, and there are great comments in there, you guys. This is awesome. I like I said, we need to start having these conversations. How many of you guys recently heard what Michelle Obama recently said? She said the problem in American politics is that the representatives are too old and they stay too long. Demetra, how long have we been saying that? At least 8 years. I said that over 8 years ago. The problem is these people are sitting on these seats and they're out of ideas and they are not effective and they're not doing anything. Isn't it funny how all of this stuff is now coming out and it's apparently obvious that one of the main, if you're a Democrat or Republican, I don't care, but a lot of us are Democrats. One of the main reasons the Democrats lost the last election is because of the people that are in the Democratic Party in representation. I would give one exception to Bernie Sanders, being that he's an independent that caucuses with the Democrats, but his message is progressive. What he's trying to do, universal health care, he's fighting for that. But the rest of them are just sitting on pretty. But Michelle Obama recently just said that.
And she's right, and I tell my daughter that. I said, all the young people, we really should look at them. If they really talking about something or whatever it is, get them in office. Get the young people in office. Let them have a chance, because essentially they going to be here longer than us. Let them try to build a world, because it's the young folks that can't, buy and do A, B, C, and D, because it's just been foobarred. That's a term I ain't using long. It's been foobarred. You know what I mean? So I'm with that. I'm with voting for the younger people and let them have a crack at it. Maxine, Methuselah Waters and James, Jimmy Crackcorn, Clyburn, all of them, no shade to them. But damn, how long, you really gonna die in the seat being selfish and not letting somebody, we know we're too old for the seat now. If you think our children should be in the seat. But you got people like that. But again, Maxine Waters is not commandeering the seat. James Clyburn ain't commandeering the seat. Nancy, they're not commandeering it. We're giving it to them by showing up and voting for them or not showing up, especially on those elections that they get in on. Those are the lowest voter turnouts. We don't show up because we are apathetic. Well, I don't see the difference. But then when your homie go up the river because an overzealous DA wants to give them life for something they didn't do, then it dawns on you, oh yeah, I should have showed up and voted for that. I should have checked into that DA and see what they all about, what their track record is with Black Americans, right? So we got to own that. It's always going to come back to us. Now, I'm not saying everything is our fault, but we participate in a lot of the things that go on with us, but we don't never want to have that conversation because we always talking about something else. We got to, like, at what point do we focus on us? That's all I'm asking. Nubian King says, why are we the only people that trace our DNA to Africa? Or where do Pales and other races trace their heritage? I am original indigenous Black American. This is my country, Curtis Mayfield. Well, I mean, that I can't tell you where you're from and all of that. That's your story. I know my story. Right? I mean, I don't know. So, yeah. And Brother Sammy says, Kwame Ture was to say, until Africa is, we will not be strong. Says, he said, a strong man at home is strong everywhere else he goes. So I think basically what you're saying is, you know, we got to strengthen what we got going on here. And that's just absolutely true. You know, you can't go help everybody else and your stuff is falling apart. And that's a trait of Black America. That's not something that that's something that was taught to us, right? And for a whole host of reasons. But we go helping everybody else. Again, the way we vote helps everybody else, and we'll sit up and complain. We'll complain. Like, I don't have a dog in a fight with Jasmine Crockett because I can't vote for her. But is anybody that can vote for her gonna ask, hey, what's on the menu for Black Americans? Because you run around here walking tall and talking tough about immigrants, but I ain't heard you say nothing about Black Americans.
Yeah, let me ask you a question, real quick correction. I think you can vote for her. She's running for Senate. Yeah, she's running for Senate. That's state. That's all state. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's the case. Then yeah. So yeah, I mean, because I know she's running against another guy, you know. So he's like, I think he's a little bit younger than her.
Yeah. She's going to beat him in the primary, but she's going to get her head beat in the state.
That's the dilemma. That's the dilemma. So that's right. She's running for Senate, not House. Correct. Okay. So let's see. But again, so she needs to be asked, what's in it for Black Americans? You're talking about everybody else, but you know, it's a lot. Goddess, how you doing? DJ Biggs, what's going on? He says the white supremacy already told the immigrants to separate from Black Americans. They went along with it, and now they're sinking and want Black Americans to throw out a lifeline. Shaking my damn head. Yeah, but my question is this too, and I'm gonna ask y'all to not to be disrespectful, but what lifeline are we really throwing out to anybody else that we don't throw to ourselves? Because if that in that same train of thought, if we have a lifeline to throw to everybody else, shouldn't we be using it to come up? Now, I do admit we do throw a lifeline. Again, by the way we vote, they come into our communities. We go in there, we you know, give them a whole bunch of money. So yeah, and then somebody brought up reparations. Yeah, the reparations is probably a point of contention with a lot of immigrants that come over here. Or again, in New York City, or New York rather, they changed the language to reparations for people of African descent. And New Yorkers are like, wait a minute, Black American New Yorkers are like, nah, y'all need to change that. And the Black woman, I forget where she's from. She's an immigrant, her parents are something like that. She was like, well, basically, it's in the language. You got to take it up with them. And they're like, so what you're saying is, so African descent could be anybody. So yes, that is a thing where people are trying to get in on that. But again, if we say, I don't think so, sucker, you still need our votes in order to do anything. And until you change your language, you better savor the last moments on this seat if I got anything to do with it, right? Or again, how about us as Black Americans? We take our money out of the economy. We start with the corporations and say, we're taking our money out of this economy. Y'all be up in Washington lobbying for every damn thing else. Y'all better go lobby for us. Somebody else said it too. If all Black Americans got life insurance, police brutality and police unalivings will stop overnight, because the insurance companies will go to Washington and say, hey, y'all costing us a lot of money. Now, if you think I'm lying, Donovan, what happened? on 9/11 when George Bush says an act of terrorism has been committed upon America? What happened in regards to the insurance companies?
Oh, well, that's like an act of war, which means that they can't pay. They don't have to pay.
And they didn't, right? So that go to show you they working in tandem. But again, if Black Americans not, and I should say that we are considered to be the most insured, we're just the most underinsured. Okay, so that's a whole different conversation. More Sam, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Woo. I'm gonna skip down because I know I'm so behind. Apex, how you doing? Says, hey, why would we hate people we don't know? We don't F with people who aren't Black Americans who get in the way of our agendas. Yeah, but again, when we have the conversation about us allowing them and helping them do that, I know that there's other powers that be, but we don't have to help them do it. But we do. We help them do it. We don't ever want to have that conversation, though. The Asians, they get help from us, right? Because when the Asian hate crime bill went down, that was unanimous. Nobody, Republicans or Democrats, balked at that. They said, yeah, they get them a hate crime bill. You know, and the Democrats, they got a lot of Black politicians in there. You would have think they would have said, well, can we include Black Americans like we include everybody else when we say we doing something for Black Americans? Can we include Black Americans? And ain't nobody say nothing like that, you know? So, yeah. And many of those people will vote back in, like the California Legislative Black Caucus there in California. Most of them will get back in. Most of them will get back in after the shenanigans that they pulled with reparations last year. They'll get back in and they'll continue with the benign neglect of Black Americans. It's just the truth. Not easily fooled. Just says we love to argue with anyone as far as for actual getting up and doing something. See, we agree. We agree because where is it getting us, right? Albert Chill, he says, I have Ethiopians in my family through marriage, and even they have to check certain family members who try that we ain't Black madness. Yeah, but again, one thing that'll humble you is white supremacy. You know, I mean, I'm sure that a lot of Somalis, we probably don't see it, but I'm sure they're saying, we're not Black. We're not Black. You know, white folks and Trump and everybody else, you can best believe if Trump saw Somalis anything other than Black, they would not be messing with them because they're not messing with people who come from, you know, Switzerland or anybody else that's white that immigrate. You ain't heard them getting gaffled up nowhere, right? So, of course, Trump and them think that they're Black. They do. Brother Sam says, Malcolm X says, why you left your mind in Africa? So, okay. Rowland, how you doing? Says, actually, America is the oldest land mass. Okay. LG says, America is the true old world, not Africa. Okay. Geology wasn't my strong point. FBA Convoy says, I close my eyes and hear Dr. Maat. Okay. Ursa says, I don't go to Asian restaurants. I mean, I don't make it a habit to do it either, but I'm saying, well, why are they so, somebody going? Why are they so successful in our neighborhoods? Somebody going there. They don't, like, oh, Donovan, riddle me this. Why you don't never see them in there? Why you don't never see them eating in their own restaurants or sitting up getting their nails done in their own shops or in their own beauty supplies?
Right. And, you know, and remember when I went to Louisiana that one time and I went to that gas station and we're getting some chicken at the gas station and the people, first thing they told me, oh, they treat us so bad here. And, oh, you know, they just do this. And these were some Arabs, right? And then I looked at them being a visitor. I said, then why are you in here? But yet they're getting treated badly in the place, but they're still eating there. That's the mentality. It was sad.
Brainwash. Mark, how you doing? Says, Demetri, do you believe that Africa owes for selling our ancestors? Well, it depends on where you came from. Africa's huge. There's a lot of countries there, right? So it just depends on where you came from. I mean, but I think we try to blanket the whole selling thing as though it is Africa's fault. I know a little bit about it, right? I mean, and I know that they weren't selling each other for the reasons that it took place over here in America. They didn't say, here, go brutalize our people. In fact, especially Queen Nzinga, you know, of Angola, when she found out what was going on, she was like, nah, right? And a lot of that had to do with warfare. So we don't have those conversations. Like, you know, you take people when you have, you know, a war and things like that.
Yeah, they would exchange prisoners, basically. They would exchange prisoners. But I don't mean to cut you off, but I don't believe you should hold, like I said, it's impossible to see where this is that. You hold the people that enslaved you accountable. So if you are made a slave and made to work and do things that you don't necessarily want to do by force, shouldn't you hold those people responsible versus somebody who exchanged you for maybe a good or a bottle of whiskey or whatever? You know, that's my opinion. I'm not saying you're wrong in how you feel, but I believe you hold the person that actually puts you enslaved responsible.
And again, I mean, indentured servitude, I think maybe that's how some people look at it. That was in all civilizations, right? But again, I think people leave off the part of nobody, well, I don't say nobody, but that wasn't the goal, to sell Africans into the horrors. There is no institution that can hold a candle to the institution of American chattel slavery. None, right? Tony, how you doing? Says, right, FBAs need to get back to innovating and building. Yeah. Like, when are we going to, I want to go to that party. You know what I mean? Where we talking about really, because that's what we do, right? We talking about how we built America, which is true, but we're like, well, let's build some more. You know what I mean? Like, was it Damon Dash says he made Jay-Z, and Jay-Z said, we'll make another one. If that's what you did, you know, and I'm not saying we didn't, we did. Which is why I like that picture behind me. You know, that was built by a Black woman, a Black American woman. All that was built. So yeah. Sister Sherry, how you doing? Says, we get nothing because we demand nothing. Come on now. Says, these people don't even have to ask for anything and they get everything. And our own people rather, who are helping them get everything. Yeah, but we're right. But it's like, no, stop that. Stop helping them. That's like, your house is on fire, and instead of you grabbing a water hose, you grabbing some more gasoline. You just throwing, like, you're not helping. Stop.
Well, again, here, you know, let's go back to what we've been talking about for the last couple of days. Let's talk about these Somalis. $8 billion stolen from autistic kids and whatever, and they're, you know, whatever this and they're whatever that, right? How did they do it? They have a representative that stands on business for them. Don't laugh. Don't be mad. All we do is we sit on these platforms and we talk about, oh, they did this, they did this. When are we going to get representatives that's going to stand on our business? We got people cosplaying as Congressional Black Caucus members that are worried about immigration. And yet the most homeless group of people in the United States are Black FBA people. Come on now.
Absolutely. Newbie King says, Black Americans have been in America thousands of years before Columbus was born. It says, how pales are not called European Americans. They are real minorities and immigrants. Well, I mean, because they, you know, consider themselves to be the forefathers, right? They wrote all the rules and things like, we know that. We know they're not indigenous here, you know, but unfortunately, it's been prophesied, it's kind of written that way, that they would be doing what they're doing and, you know, their time would be up, right? So, yeah. We know where they're from. They try to act like they don't know, you know, which is why it's always like, well, if y'all don't like everybody else, you can always go back, right? Especially in South Africa, where they talk about, oh, you can just go back home, but you won't do that, you know, because they have a habit of staking their claim everywhere. Oh, this belongs to us. It's like, you're not indigenous here, you know. I go a step further, but I want to get in trouble. Not easily fooled says, close your eyes and listen. Big Hair says, they say Brandon Johnson is Haitian. I believe it. I don't know. I've been hearing that. I don't know what he is or whatever it is. He acts like he's, you know, not Black American. But, you know, he says his ancestors from slavery when he talks about immigration, right? When he tried to draw that correlation, well, like my ancestors were slaves, you know, they're doing the immigrants like that. It's like, if you don't knock it off. So I don't know where Brandon Johnson people from per se.
Yeah, and I just want to add this. You guys hear me always talk about the city council and things like that. By the way, my roads are immaculate. Those are the smoothest roads, Dimitri, I've been on, and it's only in my neighborhood. It's only in my neighborhood that was done. But anyway, I not talk about city council and all this other stuff, right? And that's where it starts. I always hear Black people in their neighborhood talk about, I'm going to be a lawsuit. I'm going to do a lawsuit. I'm going to do a lawsuit. You guys, my city just found out the mayor of our city just cost us $2 million in a lawsuit because he does not know the Constitution and the job and what he did to a constituent. That $2 million, we're paying for that. So whenever I hear somebody in a community talk about, I'm going to sue this, I'm going to sue that, where do you think this money's coming from? It's coming out of your pocket. You're paying for that lawsuit. Everybody in your community. But we think that this entity of government just forms this money and it just is going to be given. And then you wonder why the local Boys and Girls Club can't be built, why we don't have school this, why we don't have that, because we are messing up with our own demise, all based on ignorance of how local government works. Do you guys realize that 70 to 80% of all taxation at the local level comes from property tax? How many of you guys know that? Go to your city council meetings.
Absolutely. Tootnies, how you doing? I want to go back to this comment. Ursi says, but the nature of immigrants aren't fighters. That's a lie. See, and I'm not saying it's a lie because I'm just saying stuff. Who was the first to fight and win their independence? Right?
Crispus Attucks.
Well, I mean, I'm over here, but I'm saying as far as the immigrants are concerned, right?
Oh, Haitians. Oh, yeah, the Haitians. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And, I don't know all the history, but there's been, hell, you could even go to Burkina Faso right now. Now, they're not immigrants because they're not here, but I'm saying if we're thinking about people from other places, let's say on the continent, Burkina Faso just did it, to the tune of America was trying to get that, well, I forget the general's name, the lie on him. Oh, he's over there stealing gold and money. And people organizers like, yeah, I don't think so. So that's
kicked American out of that air base that we were building over there, kicked them out and took over the air base. Sure did.
Yeah, so I think we got to be careful when we say certain things. I mean, I know that's kind of a lot of narratives, but that's just simply not true. And it's not my truth. It's just the truth. You could go look anywhere and see that. That's just like, again, coming from the mindset of the oppressor. They tell us about what as far as our revolts? Oh, Nat Turner. They barely want to tell us that, but we know goddamn well our people turned up and tried to turn out every chance they got. There's a copious amount of revolts. And I'm going to, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to start doing a series on it because I want to learn more about them. And I'm going to start doing videos about, different revolts here in America because they want us to think that our people was, were punks and our people were not that. Just like, somebody said, oh, the immigrants, they don't fight. That's a lie. That's a lie.
Well, again, for those of you guys that went through the American miseducation system like I did, you notice that what do they say about Blacks in general? If you talk to any other group that went through the miseducation system, the history of Blacks is told like this. You were slaves. A white man named Abraham Lincoln freed you. Then there was civil rights and Martin Luther King, and recently Obama. They don't talk about the Tuskegee Airmen. They don't talk about World War I history. They don't talk about that trooping glory, because there's an old saying when you look at these history books, and it's true. If you think you've done nothing, you will do nothing. It's a fact. I don't see anything. I don't see no greatness. I don't see this. I don't see that. Then you don't think you do anything. So it's like, well, we've never done anything great, and that becomes your mindset.
Absolutely. And I want to say this, FBA Judy says, well, you act like we're not doing those things now. What are we doing? Because we could talk till we blue in the face. Our ancestors didn't talk. Our ancestors did think. That's why I hate when people say, you know, talk bad about our ancestors. Our ancestors are like, listen, it's either do or die. Okay. I'd rather fight, you know, and be up out of here than to continue doing that. We don't have the heart of our ancestors. Our ancestors, they strategized. They wasn't all up on Facebook, X, Twitter, whatever it is, Instagram, YouTube. They wasn't doing all that there. They was like, listen, we gonna meet. They think we having church, especially on the plantation, right? They think we having church. Oh, praise Jesus. But in the background somewhere, somehow, they was talking about, listen, around midnight, okay? It's about you see what I'm saying? But they weren't saying, hey, Master, can you hear us? Because this is what we about to be doing. They strategize. So while we're having these conversations, we're not having the conversations enough with us about what we need to do. Like I said, okay, great. Not great in a good way, but other people feel a way about us. It's not how they feel about us, it's how we feel about us. Because if you love yourself, then you do for self.
Yeah, AC00 says John Hanson in 1792 to 1860 was president. He was president of the Confederation of States or whatever when they were forming the government of the United States. And, you know, you bring up a good point. So that's what I'm saying. Some of us kind of, maybe we're history buffs or we're just interested in that stuff and we know this stuff. But ask yourself this. The greatest general one of the greatest generals this country ever produced, Eisenhower, his mother was a mulatto. So what does that make him according to the racism in the United States? The first outrightly known Black president. How come we don't know that? How come that's not flashed in any of his biographies or anything else in the history of Eisenhower? Why is that buried? But yet you can go and Google not Mamie Eisenhower, was his wife, Eisenhower's mother, and you will find out it's a mulatto chick. And those of you guys know what a mulatto is, those light-skinned sisters, you know, that run around, you know, looking, you know, light-skinned, whatever. That was his mom. How come that's not told in the history books when they talk about Eisenhower during D-Day and stuff? Again, when you think you've done nothing, you will never do nothing.
Absolutely. Somebody made a comment. I forgot it just that fast, but it'll come back to me, I think. Mad Dog, how you doing? Says big facts. We need to get off the soapbox. Yeah, we just be bumping our gums. When I say we, I mean me too. I mean, I ain't special. I am, but not in the larger scheme of things, you know.
Well, you know, in our defense, Demetra, though, we do get out there. I mean, people might not see us, but we did the NAACP thing. You know, we go to the city council meetings. We get out there when we need to get out there. We can only speak for ourselves.
Yeah. Hey, Aaron, how you doing? And Charles, long time no see, says they all need to ask what's in it for Black Americans. They pander for our vote and give nothing. Yeah, but we're not really. We're starting to have this conversation now, but before we're like, well, it's a Democrat. You know, I'm gonna vote for it. So yeah. D-Max says, please pay attention to what Sister Demetrius K said. The communities, what they put there, you don't have to support them. Fast food, foreign shop owners, negative commodities, dispensaries. Yeah, they put those things in our community too to keep us like this, keep us unhealthy, high, drunk, you know, and lotto scratching and a whole host of things, right? To keep us not focusing on, well, that store should be our store. That should be a Black American store, you know? Keep us with food deserts. We go in there and eat hot Cheetos for breakfast, you know? Thunder says, Fact DK, if we had a lifeline, we should and need to use it first. Yeah, but we don't have those conversations. We should. I'm not saying all of us don't, but that should be where our focus is. If we got a lifeline and we give it to everybody else, why? Again, we can have the conversation about the put your mask on first on the airplane all day long. Again, as I said the other day, they don't tell you to run around the plane and put everybody else's mask on first. And then when you're done helping everybody sit down and do it, put your own on, hell, you might be out of here. Sherry says, what can we do other than protest? It's the law. They are breaking the law. That's why these people fail to realize rather is nothing we can do but protest. We do enough when we vote and we don't get nothing. I think that's what you're trying to say. Well, we do vote, but we vote horribly. And we could protest. Like I said, I'm not going to be putting no boots on the ground. I ain't putting no feet to the street. Now I will take my money out the system. That's the best way to do it. All they're going to say is a bunch of Negroes in the street again, hollering and screaming. But if we took our money out of this, that speaks volumes without having to utter a word. Which you can't make me spend money where I don't want to spend it, right? But we've had this conversation before. I don't know what we want to do at this point, and we ain't in a position where we can just corral up in this piece. You know what I mean? So,
right. And you think about this. Let's go back to Chicago. And I want you guys really to focus on Chicago, because once they gentrify and take all the property from there, what major city or medium city is going to be next? It could be yours. So you better pay attention, because I saw it happen here in Los Angeles, and now I'm watching it in Chicago. And Jessica Jackson, who lived in Los Angeles, has been ringing the alarm in Chicago over there. But I want you guys to think about this in regards to that. When we talk about Black people, we vote horribly. We talk about that, right, Demetra? Black people, we vote horribly, right? Dodged a bullet with Kamala Harris, in my opinion. Wasn't Lori Lightfoot the mayor of Chicago before Brandon Johnson? And overwhelmingly, who voted for Brandon Johnson? So they went from a horrible mayor to a way more horrible mayor because they did not do the homework. Think about that.
yeah, but again, going along with that, they Black, we got to vote for them. And of course, politicians, they do lie and things like that. But as I said, Lori Lightfoot was a one-term mayor. Make Brandon Johnson the same thing. Like, he really played in the faces of Black Americans. Lori Lightfoot, yeah, she did it with the police and all that other stuff. Laquan McDonald, but him, man, he like kiss my behind. I mean, in a sense, Tyrone, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Brother Sammy says, I felt they gave the Asian hate crime bill to keep them as an ally, so they won't unite with us. Yeah,
but they lied on us to get it. But they lied on us to get it. And all your Asian friends, they were silent. I have a bunch of Asian friends, and they were silent, knowing that this was a lie. All up in my face. All up in my face. They knew that they were gaslighting Black people, and the Asians went right along with it and have the nerve to still sit up in my face while they got a bill off of my vote.
And Brother Sammy, and of course I know I'm preaching to the choir, but they did that during slavery with the Indians, indigenous people, I should say, and Black Americans or the slaves. Hey, indigenous people, y'all more like us anyway, right? We need to unite, because they didn't want us to unite, because if we did, that'd have been curtains for them. So that's not new. Thank you so much, Mackie. I love and appreciate you for that. Says, could you do a discussion about how immigration from Africa and the Caribbean negatively impacted education and job opportunities for FBA Black Americans? Yeah, we could do it here, and when I say negatively affected, I just think the fortunate part for them, unfortunate for us, is they're better at organizing, right? Somebody, his brother Kellen, as a matter of fact, sent me an article talking about who is enrolled mostly in these universities here, and it's a lot of immigrants from all over the place. But the other thing too is, and I know a lot of those HBCUs, they kind of were created for or by white people and things, but a lot of them weren't. So we have places of our own per se that we could go, but we are brainwashing. Carter G. Woodson talked about that, to thinking I need to go study and from whiteness and learn how to be white, do white things. And when I graduate, white folks was like, if you don't take your Black self back home, then when we get back home, our people like, well, that's cool. Yeah, I can sit down on a couch and talk to a psychiatrist, but where am I gonna wash my drawers? We ain't got no laundromats. Who gonna fix my car?
Wait, isn't that what the Democrats said about illegal immigration? Who's going to pick our crops? Who's going to, do our landscaping? Doesn't that kind of sound the same?
At least they were honest. I mean, I'm not saying it's right, but that's, more sense says, how can you be reached when you're not live? DemetraK@gmail.com, DemetraK@gmail.com. Again, DemetraK@gmail.com. Donovan, was you going to say something? African Native, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Kevin says the Supreme Court needs term limits. Also, the Congress needs term limits too. I agree with Michelle Obama. The people elected to Congress should not be allowed to hold their seats forever. Yeah, but if she's right, but why do we need her to tell us that? That's something we should be like, you mean to tell me Maxine's been in there since the 90s and she ain't really did nothing? Now she's chasing behind cars and alleys and following ICE and stuff. Like, why do we, you know what I mean? Half the time she getting to be kind of incoherent. Jason, I'll follow ICE. I'll be in the back alleys.
Everybody go home. Leave me your numbers and just go home. You're talking to the homeless and telling them to go home.
The necessity of WAP. AR Radio, how you doing? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. Miss Exciting says you both you hold both accountable. Yeah, you know, but for me, I just like to hold myself accountable before I can hold anybody accountable, because I'm not perfect, right? I have issues, and I need to sometimes have a come to Jesus moment with myself and say, why are you this way? You know what I mean? JJ says if some miracle, by some miracle Jasmine would win, she would be another Karen Bass. Yeah, I haven't. I haven't heard everything the lady says, but I haven't heard her just listen. I'm talking about Black Americans now. I haven't heard, but immigrants. Oh yes, you know, my brown brothers and sisters need to understand. Well, when you do something that's against you, what is that? That's slave-minded, you know, because they mad because she used the word slave, I guess. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know if she'll win. A lot of people are saying that what's his name? James Tallarico, I think that's his name. That's the younger guy that she's going to primary with, would probably have a better chance of winning, because they said no Black person, now that you mentioned it, Donovan, has won a statewide seat in Texas, which is crazy because Texas has a lot of Black people, you know?
Yeah, in Senate since 1988. They haven't won since 1988. When what was the female governor there? Ann Richards was in office.
I don't even think was she Black?
No, Ann Richards was the white lady that was governor of a thing. No, you know, during that time when Ann Richards and the Democrats were running Texas, hasn't been since that time, 1988.
That's a long time. Hey Perry, how you doing? Long time no see. Says now FBAs didn't start it, and the disrespect ones had no reason to start it. Yeah, I agree. I would largely say that Black Americans, we really just be, there's a lot of do's and be's up in there minding our business. We do, you know, but we really need to mind our business, because what it means to mind your business is to tend to your own business, right? Get your own things up and running, your house, everything, get our things. We need to really, in a true sense of the word, mind our business. Roz, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Don't need a man. Stop telling me I do. Hope you're having a great day. The Reddit says some whites agree about reparation debt. If we are paid, it should be only FBAs in this country. Yeah, I don't even know why that's an argument with people. I get it. People are trying to hijack it. But it's like, to me, when you see, and that muddies the waters as well, when everybody else tried to get in. Well, what about our reparations? It's like, you deserve it, not just from here. You know, lovely. How you doing? Says, I think we'll start getting things done when we stop voting blue, no matter who. That part, right? Zip, zip, zoom, zoom. What's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. I didn't realize I'm so behind. Brother Maxwell, how you doing? Thank you so much. Love and appreciate you. Says Haitians on life. There, yes, leaders almost immediately after gaining their freedom, they paid them reparations. That's what I'm saying. So to say, and I know Haitians and Haiti aren't immigrants, but I'm just saying in the larger scheme of things, to say that they're not fighters is like, that's not true. You know, Mr. KX, how you doing? Since the 16.
He's sure fighting as hell not to go back to their homeland. So they're fighters.
Yeah, but then again, see, since we want to talk, be up in people's business, and I'm not saying like being nosy, but then we should really get the full context. Why is Haiti the way it is?
Look up the Clinton Foundation. And before the Clinton Foundation, of course, the destabilization of Haiti. Also, before the Clinton Foundation, Bill Clinton himself destabilized their rice the capability of a nation to feed itself. Bill Clinton did that, and he had the nerve to say, "Oops, I'm sorry, that was a mistake." But you have this whole country that cannot feed itself anymore.
Yeah, AC, how you doing? It says John Hanson, 1792, 1860 president. And I'm sure it was something probably Donovan had said. Let me skip down. Yeah, Maxwell says we're doing things outside the internet, and that's where it should be, right? And I totally agree with you. Julia, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, MAGA, all that. Larry, what's going on with you? Says Ida Stover was Eisenhower's mother. Donovan, that history is that's his avenue right there. All of that.
Absolutely. And by the way, Dimitri, did they ever solve who assassinated the Haitian president?
I know America has something to do with it. You talking about his name?
Yeah, Moisey, whatever his name is. Yeah. See, and the thing is, we don't pay attention to these things because we're too busy going to the club, going to the church, wherever we're doing to understand what's going on around the African diaspora. I kept above knowledge of that due to the African Diaspora News Channel app. Shameless plug, but again, if you want the generics of what's going on in the African diaspora, download the African Diaspora News Channel app.
Yeah. Smiler, how you doing? Says, sorry, I'm late to the channel. Okay, says and I'm probably late in the comments. I just retired. I'm fourth generation removed from slavery in the U.S. FBA's need to delineate and get a national lawsuit for reparations. Nothing has been done. Well, there was a national lawsuit. In fact, Johnny Cochran and some others were at the helm of that in the 90s. That's what I'm saying.
Then Johnny Cochran mysteriously died.
So you're going down the rabbit hole a little too far. Okay. But yeah, there was a lawsuit against the United States government. Look it up. I said I was going to talk about that too. That's on my agenda one day because I don't think a lot of people understand, A lot of people, not you, anybody here, I'm just saying, think this reparations fight is renewed. I don't know. One who cares. How you doing? Hope you're doing well today. Mimi, what's going on? Says we didn't have those types of Black businesses until a lot of Black Americans moved in. So maybe self-accountability is needed. Yes, indeed. For all of us, nobody's exempt. Jesus returns. Y'all names are squashed together, so forgive me. It says, and how you doing? It says, we have been spending with those that hate us, but we don't want to have that conversation. Rain, where have you been? It says, what happened to all those Black Wall Streets and thriving communities that we built after slavery? Well, we know what happened to them, right? I think we're a little bit better off now. We can build them, especially since you have a lot of them folks talking about we separating, they getting their own towns. It's like, great. Now we're going to get and there's some Black towns, believe it or not. I know the Nation of Islam, some of the Nation of Islam, I think it's called Hereafter or something. So there's Black towns. Remember, there was a bunch of people that bought 19 acres and stuff like that. So there's people who were doing it. They're just not really doing it on the internet, So we are starting to do that again. And that's where our focus needs to be. If not, I'll be sure you crazy. Lori, Beetlejuice life. Y'all better stop calling that lady Beetlejuice. Mike, how you doing? Says, yes, indeed. Recently left Glendale and Manhattan Beach. Where are we at? Yeah, and of course, we know what happened with Manhattan Beach, right? And somewhere else too recently, they said belonged to Black people. That was eminent domain. Just recently in California. Anthony, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. I said, wow. I didn't realize we're so facts now. Feelings, how you doing? Says peace and love, families. Nigeria needs to focus more on the war. The U.S. is bringing their way to break up their country and take their oil. Yeah, they need to focus on that and not Black Americans. Yeah, they letting Trump over there. And Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj is the ambassador. And I was about to say her. She's an immigrant. Nicki Minaj is not a citizen. She's an immigrant, right? But the Trump administration sent her to Nigeria to stick up for Christians. It's a lie. And then I don't know if y'all saw that beef between her and Gavin Newsom, where Nicki Minaj was talking a whole bunch of stuff about Gavin Newsom and this fool. I don't like Gavin Newsom, but his troll game is bar none. Do you know this man took a snippet of Megan Thee Stallion song about Megan's Law. Y'all know Megan's Law in California is about the predators. and put the actual link. He says, basically, I'm paraphrasing, click here. When you click on it, Nicki Minaj's husband comes up. He basically telling Nicki, you got other fish to be frying to be talking about me. I was like, yikes.
Yeah, and isn't Cardi B in the Middle East somewhere?
I think she's back now, but she was, yes. Just going down. Yeah, Toussaint Louverture. Yep. Haitian Revolution. If you know, you know. John, what's going on? She says Clinton Foundation plus 100 billion plus Haiti 7 houses. You crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You want to piss a Haitian off? Even here in the United States, just start glorifying the Clintons in their face and see what happens to you.
Yeah. And Sandra, yes, that's on my I was gonna say my bingo card. I don't have a bingo card, but yes, my to-do list is to talk about Johnny Cochran and what they were trying to do for the fight of reparations in the 90s. And my mom, you know, they were all up in that sign, that type of thing. It didn't obviously go anywhere, but again, this is not a new fight. It's because we always ask our greatest minds, and Johnny Cochran was that. Okay. In our communities, our lawyers, hey, where are the black lawyers to be fighting for this, right? That's what Johnny Cochran was doing. Johnny Cochran was using his legal hat to fight for reparations. But we got all these black lawyers in our community who's drawing up petitions and this, that, and the other. I don't know that they're not. I'm just saying, like, where are these lawsuits? Saying the dead is old and we want it.
See, it's funny that you bring that up. Do you guys know why Indian tribes were allowed to have casinos and the Indian Affairs Bureau still exists today and all this other stuff? When I was stationed in Alaska, the gas dividend that they would give out to the tribes and stuff, because it was on their land and stuff like that, because the corporations they didn't want to pay anything and it took the tribes to fight the corporations. How did they fight the corporations to be able to get casinos and to be recognized as the sovereign nations that they were? They went to their young lawyers who went to the white schools, who took those old treaties, dusted them off, and said, you signed a treaty with us that recognizes us as sovereign nations. So we could do this, this, and this. And they went all the way to the Supreme Court to reinforce the treaties that were signed back in the 1876s and all that other great stuff. This is why they have casinos on their land and they can do what they want and they make their own rules and do all these things because they keep their young lawyers representing them and fighting in the courts. How many young black Thurgood Marshals do we have? And for those of you guys that are too young, Thurgood Marshall was the first black person on the Supreme Court, and he was a big civil rights lawyer. How many young black Thurgood Marshals do we have fighting for black issues, reparations, police brutality, and such and such and such and such, arguing in front of the Supreme Court? Probably none.
And that's where the conversation needs to be. Right. And then somebody, Kimmy, I think you said he called his firm. Yeah, the heart of Johnny Cochran ain't there no more. You know, I don't know what they're doing, but the heart of Johnny Cochran is not there. See, Johnny Cochran, had a love for his people, So yeah, and to Donovan's point, what happened to him, Well, we know, right? Wasn't it cancer or something like that?
Well, he had brain cancer, but just like Jack Ruby in the Kennedy assassination, he was perfectly fine. And then all of a sudden, the man has massive cancer all in his body. How did that happen?
Yeah. Hey, Brother Jonelle, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, Brother Damon, how you doing? Hope that you were having a fabulous evening. Let's see. Let's skip down because I didn't realize how much time we spent. Rain, you say, Cardi was in Saudi Arabia saying that Saudi Arabia is better than the United States, but she's an immigrant and culture vulture. Yeah, her people are immigrants. She's born here, but yeah, she's come from immigrants from the DR, from what I understand. I heard she was saying, I didn't watch the video of her saying that it's better in Saudi Arabia. I think most people who go out the country, depending on where they go, unless you're going to Beirut or something like that, would say, yeah, that most places are better than America. Cost of living, the food, just the atmosphere. So it's a lot better. You when you leave and come back, the stress is just like, hello. I missed you. So I don't take exception to what she's saying. I've been out of the country a few times, and I would say, yeah. It's like, welcome back to hell. Ham University, how you doing? Says the hate started with Yakub. Come on now, so you going deep. And unfortunately, that's a little bit above my expertise. I know about Yakub, but to actually speak to it like that, let one of y'all do it. Big Hair says our young are too busy doing step shows. Yeah. But there's some that would do it, right? Want to run for office. GM South, how you doing? Says Ben Crump out there making them cut the check. Yeah, well, he's a civil lawyer. That's what his job is, to get to the money, right? That's his job. Is a civil lawyer is to deal with how much you gonna pay my client for these damages, right? That's what civil lawyers deal with. He's not a criminal lawyer, right? He's like, this is what we're asking, okay? And then that's how he gets the big money. Could he go for reparations? I don't know why he couldn't, but he's like, shoot, I'm getting my reparations. Black American Expat Podcast, how you doing? Says same thing happened to Khalid Muhammad. You did? Black Butterflies, how you doing? Says I saw the short that Cardi B said it was ghetto. Well, I know she didn't say that it was ghetto when she was over there. She said it when she was back over here. D Mackey says the mindset of the East is totally different from the West. Yeah. See, Cardi B had on some clothes on over there too. Brother Damon says Ben Crump won't say ish about reparations. Yeah, probably not. FBA Judah says my family was unalived, if you will, in Tulsa. So during the massacre, is that what it was? Maya says, how you doing? Says Donovan, you are correct about Black American lawyers. There has not been a landmark civil rights ruling from the Supreme Court for Black Americans since the 1970s. Yeah. Yeah. Brother Jonell says, who will make war with the beast? No change comes via comfort. Come on now, and cowardice. We must embrace the doors of adversity for real change and justice. Absolutely. Ali, how you doing? Hope that you are doing well. And Ursula says foundational Black Americans shouldn't put other countries on the pedestal. I'm an Air Force veteran. Thank you for your services. Says I've been around the world. America is the greatest. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that people say that too. You don't realize how great America is until you go to other countries that don't have the rights per se that we have. So yeah, I've heard both sides, and I would agree with that. Like I said, I went to the DR, never will go again, and they damn literally tried to snatch me and my daughter off the street, and I'm like, whoa, can't wait to go back home.
And they would have gotten away with it if it hadn't been for that pesky tourist saving you guys, because I had you guys marked.
Right, had a target on us. Zip Zoom. He says attorney Dennis Sperling has drafted up reparations claim. Maybe should have him on the live. I don't know if I'm his cup of tea. I know who Dennis is. He's here in Houston. That's interesting. That's interesting to know. I'd like to look a little bit more into his draft per se. Facts I feel says America is not the greatest. Yeah, that's like I said, it just depends on who you ask. Brother Damon says all caps foundational Black Americans. All right now. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here because I'm hungry. I need to eat.
Yes, and real quick, somebody asked me a question, and the question was, I believe, Donovan, how can we get a petition to end California property tax? California. That will never happen. The money here is so mismanaged, it will never happen. The cost of living here is so expensive. California cannot afford to let property tax be free because, again, it's very expensive. However, as a veteran, I don't pay property tax for the simple fact that I serve the country and I get an exemption. If you do not want to pay property tax, maybe, you're too old, whatever. I know the military is not for everybody. I'm not pushing that. But for those of us that know the benefits of the military, Demetra knows, a lot of us know, there is some stuff in there that you will benefit from, maybe not today, but down the road. So because of my service, I do not pay property tax. Because of my service, my student loans or whatever I had left was forgiven. There's a whole bunch to it. But yet I can't work for no white man, whatever. I'm going to get a house in 15 years and the thing goes, how How are you going to get to the bag when you come from nothing? Use the system that is out there to get to where you need to go. A 4-year military commitment like these Asians and Mexicans are doing here in California, being reservists and Air National Guard members or National Guard members 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year, to get that veterans status. They're getting their homes and they're getting their property and all this other stuff that goes with it. So again, I'm not saying that, but in California, that will never happen.
Absolutely. Facts Not Feelings says Black people's life expectancy is dropping like a rock in America. How can this be the greatest country for Blacks? Yeah, it's a combination of things that's shortening our life expectancy, but a lot of that has to do with the choices we make. We just start with diet, right? Again, I know in a lot of our situations there's food deserts and things, but we need to show up to these city planning meetings and say, hey, when we be needing the grocery store up and around here, you know, whatever it is, right? So there's a lot that we can do. I know a lot of it is systemic and institutional, but there's a lot we can do. You don't have to eat your chicken fried. You know what I'm saying? But Rosemarie on African Diaspora News Channel, she talks about health and wellness and things like that all the time. If y'all want to go check her out. Brother Damon says, I get that you have to be 100%. Says PT family full of OGs. How you doing? Says what? They started the BS. We started reacted to it. Yeah. For me, I try not to react to everything. Otherwise I'd, be a hot mess, be bald headed and stressed out if I reacted to everything. And that's partially why I don't be acting up and stressing out, because I don't want to be bald headed, because I was under stress one time and my hair fell out and I was like, oh yeah, I ain't gonna be doing that no more. So I just try not to react to a lot of stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all can join me tomorrow on the African Diaspora News Channel at 11 a.m. I don't quite know what I'm going to talk about yet, but I'm sure it'll be an interesting conversation. Again, 11 a.m. Central Time, African Diaspora News Channel. Of course, on this channel and Facebook, I will put up a notification that I will be going live there. So love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Thank y'all for having this wonderful conversation with us. Thank you, Donovan. And of course, I don't need to give Donovan an invitation because, again, people are like, where Donovan at? I don't know, in his skin. When he jump out, you can jump in. I'm just playing. Donovan is a busy man. He don't never need to ask me to come on here. This is his show as well. Donovan got a key to the house, okay?
By the way, I want to just say this. I own all rights to Demetra K and her product and her programming. So until I get my cut, I'm always going to be a mixture.
See, even I'm still on the plantation, right? Let my people go. Bye, y'all. Peace.